Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I wanted to discuss a topic that is really near and dear to my heart. Since I spent basically since the main reason I went overseas was for college, I wanted to talk with you guys about college life in the Philippines. All right. Now, for me, I went to two different schools because I finished my undergraduate degree, my bachelor's degree in management, sorry, at one school, and then for my master's degree and my doctorate degree, I finished it at the other school, which is represented by the shirt that I'm wearing right now, the University of Mindanao. Love them. Good people. Love you guys. But the first college I want to talk about is San Pedro College in Davao City. Shout out to San Pedro. Love you guys. I hope you guys are doing great over there. I said I love what you've done with the school. You're trying to make it better, trying to fix it up. But the thing about studying abroad, what I really want to touch on is, the country is predominantly Catholic. So the school that I went to, San Pedro College, is a Catholic school. So, it's definitely a different experience because I was required to wear a uniform. Now the uniform was just a white polo shirt and then black or blue slacks and then like loafers. For the girls, they wore this skirt and then they wore a white top and they had to wear this tie. The color was maybe a bluish gray. That would be the best way to describe it. But in general, every day of the week you were required to wear this uniform except Wednesdays and if you had classes on Saturdays. On Wednesday, they refer to it as wash day. Now, wash day is the day that the girls basically get to dress in whatever they want because it's a way of it's a day off from, so that you can wash your uniform and prepare for Thursday and Friday. Depending on how many sets of uniforms that you had, that's why they refer to it as wash day or wash day Wednesday. Now, I love wash day. Okay? Not gonna lie. Best day of the week. Best day of the week. Because these girls are wearing their uniform, 4 days out of the week, or we'll just say 2 days out of the week before Wednesday comes. So when Wednesday comes, you get to see what you can't see when the girls are actually wearing their uniform. So it's like, you didn't know that a girl looked a certain way or that they could fix themselves up and look the way that they do, as opposed to wearing a uniform, as opposed to not wearing a uniform. And then you see the girl's style, how she likes to dress when she's outside. Because these are things that you don't see in school every day. This is a Catholic school, so it's very conservative. And I mean, they weren't dressing like in short skirts and stuff. That stuff's not allowed. But for the most part, you can see how they doll themselves up and how they really, really take care of themselves when they're not having to wear their uniform every day of the week. So, again, wash day Wednesday, best day ever, best day of the week. Even if I didn't have class on Wednesday, I would go to school on wash day Wednesday just to see what the girls are dressing like. I'm a guy. Sorry. Loved it. Anyways, now, in college life, again, the school is super strict about rules. They have announcements about prayer. They have a prayer at least once a day where everybody stops and they listen to the prayer announcements and things like that. Doesn't bother me much. Your religion, I respect it. It's all good. I do what's required of me because that was the school that I was enrolled in. So, but not really a big deal. Nobody made a big fat fuss about it. It's not really that dramatic. It's their country. You do what you do. Now, in San Pedro College, just like all the other universities, they have this thing called intramurals. Now, intramurals is maybe a week long thing wherein you have activities like basketball, football. I'm sorry, not football. Sorry, basketball, volleyball, and all types of different activities wherein your team, well, I mean, wherever you're associated with, they would have teams, and then you would go out and you would participate and go against each other. It was just a little competition to get you guys away from worrying about school and things like that. It was just like this brief competition. And they do this in like all the schools, but they're not always the same time or during the same time period. So during intramurals, the only thing that I hated is the fact that they locked us in school like we were prisoners. You're not allowed to leave. And then if you don't show up, you have to face a penalty. You have to bring like canned goods and stuff like that for offering for charity or something like that. You have to do something like that in order to make up for missing a week, or whatever it may be. And I was always hesitant to miss out because they would be dramatic about it. They would punish you, like try to punish you for it. I thought it was dramatic, but their school, their rules. So me and my brother, when we were going to school together, man, we show up, find a place to kick it, do what we could, and just be done. But for the most part, shout out to my boy. Matter of fact, me and him, we used to shut it down at the intramurals, man. We used to always rap or do something like that, just to keep us busy. They would put us on a program, maybe in the evening. There's a video of that, and I'm going to try to find it so that I can post it, maybe attach it to the video or something like that so that you guys can see us getting it on. I mean, we set it off, man. That was probably the best time of our lives, man. We used to handle that stuff. Anyway, besides that, they used to lock us in the school. We would get out maybe an hour for lunch, but if we didn't make it back by 1 o'clock, they would lock the gates and they'd be like, oh, you're not allowed to come inside here. You face the penalties for missing a half a day or something like that. They were really dramatic about that. But, I mean, their school, their rules. I mean, nobody really tripped out on that. But, again, it was fun. It was just a good experience. They had intramurals. I mean, for the most part, man, the best thing about college life is, getting to experience college life in the Philippines. I mean, you go out there, you can entertain or interact with your classmates because besides me and my brother, there was one other foreigner guy in the school he wasn't American, but there was only one other foreigner guy. There were a few foreigner girls. They were from Indonesia, and then our girl Cheryl, she was from Australia. Shout out to her if she's ever gonna watch this. I don't know, sweet person. And then yeah, I mean, other than that, there was only one other guy. He's my best friend to this day. He's like my brother. His name is Ali. That's my boy. He's always going to be my boy. And anybody who knew us, man, we was always together. You have to realize we're like the only two other foreigners in the school, especially after my brother graduated and left. He was the only one I had to kick it with. So we were together like all the time. And I can remember one time, the first time ever, like we really, really hung out. We were with two of our classmates. And it was, I don't know, it was probably a Friday night. Maybe it was a Friday night. I couldn't tell you. But I knew I didn't have to get up in the morning else I wouldn't have went out because they invited me to go out and, just sit around and, have a drink and stuff like that. So we were kicking it. We was having fun. It was me, my boy Ali, and then two of our classmates. And what ended then, it was probably the craziest night of our lives, man. It was funny. It was great. But we ended up, we ordered some drinks and stuff like that. And then we kept ordering drinks and ordering drinks and ordering drinks. It wasn't really bothering me because, it wasn't really something that was hard. It wasn't hard alcohol. That's not what I'm into. But for the most part that evening, I'm just going to give you the short version of it because it was crazy. But, that night, it was just awkward. I mean, he ended up selling his car that night. He made a pretty good buck off of it, too. He sold his car that night, my boy Ali. And then they were all just hanging out. And then, like, after a while, I left and I was going home. Now, for me, for the most part, I used to take taxis before I started learning how to ride the jeepneys and things like that, learn the system and the routes and stuff like that. I used to take taxis everywhere. But by this time, I had already known how to ride jeeps. But in order for me to get to the stop that took me all the way to my house, I had to walk maybe a kilometer and a half, 2 at the most, to get to the stop. And between my school, where my school is, and where the stop is, which is near another college called Ateneo de Davao College, where I have to catch my Jeep to go home, I must have used the bathroom like 5-6 times. The whole time I was there, I didn't have to go. The minute I get up, walk, and try to leave, from the time that I got from where my college is, because the place we went to is right next door to the college, from that time on, I had to go to I used the bathroom probably like 5 or 6 times from that point on before I got to my stop. And then I couldn't even make it to the house. I ended up stopping the Jeep before I even got home. And considering it's starting to get late at night, I mean, it's hard to catch a Jeep from certain areas. Now, I had to stop because I couldn't hold it anymore. I had to stop at a gas station and then get back on the Jeep. And it took me probably about another 30 minutes to find a Jeep that would actually pick me up, even though I'm just one guy. So again, it was just one of those nights, man. I had fun. We all had fun. Me and my boy, we just kicked it, and that was like our first real time actually getting to hang out and stuff. It was great. It was an epic night. And then, but aside from that, San Pedro College, great college. I mean, if you're gonna go there, I recommend you go there. But also, I recommend you guys, if you want to go to college or there's a college you're interested in the Philippines, there you go, baby. University of the Mindanao. That's what they call it. It's the University of Mindanao. Now, I love the University of Mindanao. Every day, I mean, I was in graduate school, So when I got there, it was relatively. I didn't interact with the undergraduate because where we were, I mean, we were all intermingled into the same college, but for the most part, I mean, I just kept with my MBA classmates and my doctorate classmates whenever I got to that level. I mean, in my doctorate class, we were probably six. I love those guys. They're very good to me. They were very nice, and we were all friends and stuff. To this day, we're really friends. That's just shout out to them. If I see them on Facebook, I say what's up. Um, in MBA, there were a lot more of us. I think in my doctorate degree, there were six. In my MBA class, we were like 20, 30 plus. A lot more people take the MBA, but not a lot of people take the doctorate. And I understand why that thing was hard. It was hard. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. And some people, I ain't gonna lie, man, I had to work my butt off to get what I got. So I'm very happy about that. But for the most part, my instructors, everybody was cool. Nobody gave me any drama, no static. I mean, I loved it. The University of Mindanao, there was no school uniform for us to wear, so every day you could wear whatever you wanted. I mean, so for me, I just like going to the school for a minute, look at the girls, don't tell nobody. But I mean, for the most part, I had classes on Saturday for the most part, usually the whole day Saturday. So during the week, I would be working on my assignments and projects and things like that. And then on Saturday, that would be the day that I actually go to school and stay for like the whole day. So that was kind of how my schedule was set up, which was really cool, man. I mean, and for the most part, the education in that country is so cheap. Oh my God, it is so cheap. I love it. I said, I know friends of mine, shout out to Fayetteville State University. I know a few friends of mine that actually graduated from Fayetteville State. And this one girl told me she paid like $24,000 in total for her whole degree. I don't even think I paid that much for all of my education put together. I don't even, I mean, don't get me wrong, between renewing my visa and stuff like that, that cost. I'll talk about it later. But between renewing my visa and, what was that? And allowances and stuff like that, the money that I got while I was kicking it there, aside from that, but just the tuition alone and maybe the books, there's no way in this world I spent 24,000. 24,000 is equivalent to maybe 1,000,000 pesos. Actually, it's probably a little bit more. A little bit more than 1,000,000 pesos, $24,000. So, I didn't even spend that much for my whole education together. Imagine that. My friends are struggling here to get a bachelor degree and paying obscene amounts of money. At least in my opinion, it's obscene. It's not really a lot, of course, compared to your prestigious colleges like Yale and Duke and, UNC and those places like that. But, for me, I went to school for 10 years straight. 4 years bachelor, 2 years MBA, that's 6, oh maybe 9, sorry. We'll say 10 years total. And then another 3 years for my MBA. My doctorate. So in total that was 9 or 10 years education, flat. And I didn't even pay, I don't think I paid more than that. So again, if you ever want to think about studying abroad, go to the Philippines, University of Mindanao, shout out, San Pedro College. The education is relatively cheap. You still get the same level of education. Don't get it twisted. Just because you're studying abroad does not necessarily mean that your education is going to suffer because of it. You have to realize something about the Philippines. Most people don't know this, but the Philippines' biggest export is their people. And they have some very, very smart people. And they have to go to college. They have to learn. They have to do things like that. So, yeah, the education level is relatively the same. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. I just ended up going to a place, I got in, got out. Fortunately, no student debt, no loan debts, no none of that. I was good. And then, on top of that, my degree transferred to the U.S. So basically, I'm already a doctor here too. My doctorate is the U.S. equivalent of a doctorate in business studies. It's almost the same thing. So at the end of the day, I went there, got my education for far less than 1,000,000 pesos, which is about the equivalent for just your bachelor's degree here. And then on top of that, my credits and everything, my credentials transferred to a doctorate in business studies. Just like that, I paid $140 for my transcripts to be evaluated. Shout out to Joseph Silney and Associates. Thank you very much for that. And that's it. I'm good. College life. Gotta love it. Peace.